one item under Title 33 tree permits, 41 Lorraine Avenue. This is at the intersection of Elmwood and Lorraine. And I think, Lee, you may have visited this site because your name appeared on the tree permit as someone who'd advised them. I think it's a site that a tree can be planted in, and it can be I believe it was a tulip tree that they wanted to put there. There are high voltage cables on the opposite side of the Elmwood side of their property, but I don't think that's a concern. Once they get confirmation from David Riggs that it is in the right of way, then we will proceed with the tree permit and give them permission. If it turns out it's not in the right of way, well, they can plant the tree wherever they like. So, are there any questions about this item at all?
I'm having difficulty hearing the.
All I can suggest is you turn up the volume, because I
don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no, it's there's going to be a volume control somewhere on your computer for doing it. If there's no questions about the Lorraine Avenue tree, then I don't have any Title 37 landscape ordinance issues, unless our code director has anything to report to us.
We don't have anything at this time, Mr. Ingram.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on then to maintenance of the tree canopy. Last night I sent out a copy of a document that Albie McWilliams and I worked on back in 2013. I thought it was a spreadsheet. I was wrong. It was a Word document. But it contains many sites on many streets. And we can use this certainly as a basis for additional sites that people find. Were there any questions about the sites listed on that document?
No, it was easy to read, and I've sort of started doing something similar to the streets around here. Your idea made it made it easier for me to figure out how to do it. I mean, I had started it, but it was really difficult. I couldn't understand some of my markings myself, but I think yours was much clearer. So thanks.
Okay, good.
You think we should all try and pick out a neighborhood and do it?
Oh, yes. I mean, just find sites that you think are good sites, and we'll just add them to this list that Albie and I put together, because I'm pretty sure all those sites on that list are still good sites to use.
The fun part has been that, since Lee's agreed to send out those cards, finding new ones being planted, and that's been kind of gratifying.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good. Okay, so yes, just forward me your suggestions. I will add to that list those two interchanges that I think Anne mentioned at the last meeting: the East State Street 33 interchange and the interchange with 50 and East State Street at the end of east end of East State Street. I think those are all good areas that we can add to. Under other, I've got the Arbor Day celebration, which will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. It'll be at the community centre, and it'll be at the front of the building near the fountain. And I believe the plan is to plant a linden tree there. But I really don't know any more details than that. I did hear the fact that our technical helpers at the city who are helping put this video on, they're going to be trying to take some pictures and maybe do some video of the event. And so hopefully there will be a recording of the event.
That's great. Just and include that on your Tree City USA recertification too. That's great.
Yep.
I love that stuff.
And I want to thank the Arbor Day Committee for really sort of moving this one forward. I think it's very good that we've now got that committee back in action. And speaking of the Tree City USA report, Andrew Schicky confirmed that he is preparing that report. So I hope you get it in time, Anne.
I can see that it's in progress.
Good.
So I usually don't look at them until they submit, what they think is the thing. It is, he does need to submit it, I think, by December 4th. Even if it's incomplete, it's still good to submit it, and then we can always do revisions after that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good. Good to know. That brings me to the end of the list that I've got. I would observe that we, at the last meeting, discussed not having a meeting in December. And so I've got on my agenda here, or I put on the agenda, the next meeting that we'll probably have will be in January. I don't know if anyone's got any more thoughts on that. I have confirmed with the code director that there are no plans in the pipeline that might cause us to have a meeting. So at the moment, I'm thinking that our next meeting should be in January. Are there any other items that people want to raise?
I have a question about the Menards, and are they going to be planting any trees at all on that property, or are all the trees going to go for city plantings?
I believe the 370 that they have promised the city are for planting on the city property. They have planted some on their own property, but those aren't included in that 370 as I understand it.
Okay. So I haven't been out there. Are there trees in their parking lot to shade the parking lot?
No.
I thought that was kind of the point, one of the major points of the...
Yes, it is. We didn't give them a variance, so I don't know how they managed to get around putting any in the parking lot. But no, there don't appear to be trees in amongst the parking lots.
But there are a lot of trees planted around the perimeters.
Oh yes, there are.
And some in the parking lot. Not very many, but some.
Oh, okay, I didn't notice any in the parking lot, but I could be wrong.
Well, that happened with Goodwill Industry. They paved the entire parking lot, and then it was brought to their attention that there were supposed to be trees there. And they cut out the spaces and put in some trees.
Well, this is why in future we have to insist that the final plan is presented to us before we approve it.
And I think a good argument for that is that we want these trees to be an asset on their site as well as a benefit to the community. And those are perfect examples. The Goodwill site, those trees are ridiculous. They look dumb, because they're just in lines, and they were an afterthought. Yeah. So if we had been able to have some influence, it would have been nicer for them.
Well, the influence is we're going to have to take a hard stand and not approve anything until we get the final plan, and that, I'm afraid, is going to get us a bad reputation. But that's what's going to happen.
Good.
Well, it's my understanding in New York City, a business can't even open until the trees are planted. So that's a really hard approach.
Well, and I think the argument is that we're not trying to be difficult.
Right.
We want these projects to be successful in the long run. And Menards, they planted a lot of trees around the perimeters of the property and around the buildings. And they clearly put a decent, more than a decent investment in it. But there's catalpas like right up against the building and other trees that may pose a problem in the future, so we were, had more of that opportunity for dialogue ahead of the game, we could, the catalpas were out by the parking lot, and away from the building and away from the gutters and stuff like that. So I think that's the argument.
I don't know either what kind of plan they have for watering and paying attention to the growth of the trees and stuff. We have no input into that either, which is something else we could be helpful with, I think.
I thought they had gator bags on some of them
Do they?
that are surrounding the perimeter.
Ah, good.
That's hopeful.
Okay. Any other points of discussion, questions?
Well, we were going to talk about the film that.
Yes, I saw that Anne had given the link to that, and so I'd recommend that when you've got time, you have a look at some of those.
Well, the one particularly, what was the name of it, Anne? The one that we thought was such a good one. What?
The one by Alan Seward, An Introduction to Urban Forestry or Quantifying Urban Forestry. Yeah, that one was probably the best. I mean, there was some really, academic programs about urban forestry on a global level and on a national level. And there was a presentation by Nicole Cavender, who is an Athens native, who is now the head of arboriculture for Morton Arboretum, America's premier or arboretum. So she talked, hers was interesting about species diversity and, how to, increase diversity in cities using the science and the research that they've done. But I think Alan's was the best.
Well, there was.
What was it called again?
I forget. Hold on.
Well, there was one the first day, and then there was one the last day, and I thought those two were probably the most important for tree commissioners, were most pertinent for us. And the one I wanted to propose that we try to watch the one that was presented on the first day, and then discuss it in January.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that we.
I agree.
I will add that to the agenda for January.
Oh, excellent. And could you possibly put that on a list of reminders and send that link out to us January 2nd, so that for anybody who can't remember, I know that there was an email, but I don't know where, if you could do that, that would be great. I don't know. I just have trouble finding emails. I searched for one for tonight's link, and
well, I think there was a problem because I couldn't find mine and John couldn't find his, and so they sent them out again late this evening.
But I did find one that was dated November 9th, which I couldn't find the first two times I looked for it.
Yeah.
I mean, mine didn't want to connect.
Oh. Well, I think we've done awfully well, considering we've had virtual meetings. I think it's been more successful than many. So
yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Well, the other thing we talked about before was whether we were going to establish some sort of plan for our activities. What we might want to accomplish in order to improve the canopy of the community.
Well, I think
that film that we're talking about watching will help us start thinking in that direction.
Right. I think
that's his main point.
Right.
Plan. He says.
Right.
And the name of that is What Makes a Quality Urban Forestry Program.
There you go.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
I'll send that, tomorrow, but then I'll send it again, over the holidays in case anybody.
Okay. Well, you did send it. If everybody looks at their emails and puts your name there and says, "Send me all the butter."
Yeah. Okay.
They'll find it.
But that's a link for all of them, and I think it will be overwhelming unless people know the particular ones they want to, that are being recommended by those who attended.
Okay.
Okay. So, it sounds like in January we definitely want to expand a little bit on our planning. So I will make sure that's on the agenda for January. Anything else? If not, we have minutes of the last meeting. I can probably share those on my screen if I'm allowed to. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like I can. Okay. So you should be able to see the minutes of the last meeting if you can't get hold of the copy.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly, John.
I thought I was at that meeting, but it doesn't show, and I'm not positive. Does anybody know if I was there or not?
I don't think you were, John.
I think I came in late, wasn't I, or did I not?
Oh, maybe.
There was one that you didn't come to. So this
Yeah.
one.
I don't think you were there, John.
Okay, fine. That's good then. I accept that then.
Yeah, I try and keep a list because but I literally have to write it down. So tonight, in the first minute or so before we started, we were all pretty much assembled, and I've written down the list, and I think I've got everybody there.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to take a screenshot because I've got the list right up in front of me, so that'll help me as well.
In fact, we have a good turnout tonight.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Yeah, so I even saw Emily's name there at one point. Right? So I think she's gone now. Okay.
So I'll move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, John.
I second it.
Thank you, Nancy. Any further discussion on the minutes at all? If not, is there any objection to approving the minutes of the October 8th meeting? Hearing none, we have minutes of our last meeting, and I will forward those to the city. As I mentioned previously, our next meeting will be on January the 14th at 7 p.m, and I expect it will be on Zoom again. And with that,
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
I wish you all a good night and
Next year,
Happy holidays.
compliments of the season. Yes.
Yeah. And thank you very much, David. We appreciate your work.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for all your good work this year, you guys. I know it was a tough one. Good job.